welcome to another episode of the Armchair Crew Chief. This is post-Texas. My name is Jordan, and I am joined along with my lovely wife, Rebecca.
Hello.
And we saw a 41 race streak snapped this weekend. We saw somebody win by an inch, and we saw somebody just about run away with a race.
Yeah.
All in the same weekend. So let's go ahead and dive into it and discuss everything. Starting off with the trucks, our qualifying order for our top five were Grant Enfinger, 5th, Kyle Busch, 4th, Stuart Friesen, 3rd, Christian Eckes, 2nd, and Nick Sanchez got the pole this weekend. And moving on from there, had a lot of good racing, all in all. Some wrecks that went around. There was some good battle and jockeying for position behind the leader.
Yeah. Because
the leader did run off with the win. Just obviously he won, but just moving around and getting everything done. So, into stage one, we had Kyle Busch take the win. Christian Eckes, 2nd. Nick Sanchez, Zane Smith, 4th. Stuart Friesen, 5th. Moving on to stage two, pretty much all the same. We had Kyle Busch, Nick Sanchez, Christian Eckes, Corey Heim, and Taylor Gray. And then going on with the race, at the end of the race, we had quite a few restarts.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Christian Eckes was really getting up there.
Well, I think Christian Eckes
really get it.
Eventually had, I think, the truck to win. If you ask.
He did.
And so our top five were Zane Smith, Christian Eckes 4th, Nick Sanchez 3rd, Corey Heim 2nd, Kyle Busch got the win. He, like I said, he ran away with it. He was off to
Kyle
4
Busch
second
got
leads.
the win because Corey Heim was stupid, and instead of trying to race
Kyle
Busch, he tried to race Corey Heim when they were like...
No, he tried to race Eckes.
When they were like 3 wide.
Right, so they had a restart going on, and this was a green-white checker pretty much.
Yeah.
And Corey Heim was starting to lose it from Kyle Busch, and Christian Eckes had a really strong truck.
He did.
And unfortunately, Corey
Heim's truck was pretty good. He could get up there, but it couldn't.
He was
stick.
loose in the turns.
It would just he'd fade back, and it's like, seriously, why did you do that? And then he decided to race Eckes instead of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he decided to race for 2nd and gave up the win, the going for the win.
Yeah,
but his car was too tight, and it was just sliding up.
Yeah.
And so, it caused an issue, and just watching it was just frustrating to see. I mean, it was so stinking frustrating.
What also was frustrating, too, is they, kept adding laps to the caution. You're like, oh, they're going to go, and then they, add another lap.
Right, yeah,
the laps were, they did, 6 flipping caution laps.
Right.
It was really annoying. I'm like, why? Why are we adding another lap? It was really dumb.
So this win puts Kyle Busch tied with Todd Bodine for the most truck wins at the track, 6. And truck win number 66, Busch has now 231 wins in the 3 National Series. 66 being truck wins.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how many are Xfinity wins or Busch wins. But he doesn't. I mean, he's got 10 or 15. No, he's got more than that. 30 or so in Cup Series.
Yeah.
So he's got 100 and something wins. It looks like in Xfinity. Then it's got to be if you look at the numbers. Anyway, so that's how that played out. Trucks will be taking a rest this weekend. They will be at Kansas on May 4th. So we will not see them at the big house. So that, Won't be able to see a Kyle Busch come out and race another one or not. Anyway, moving on. Let's go into our Xfinity Series, Andy's Frozen Custard. So, our top 5 for this race, qualifying, Riley Herbst 5th, Chandler Smith 4th, Taylor Gray 3rd, Cole Custer, which changed his name because he was running the Andy's Frozen Custard car, to Cole Custard.
Which they missed an opportunity. Should have said cold custard. That would have been even better.
And then Jesse Love got the pole. He got the pole by .022 seconds. So we had that. Starting up stage, Hendrick Motorsports looked like they had some of the cars to beat going into it, but also so Joe Gibbs was up there running as well. I mean, it's kind of the same thing in Cup Series where it's been that, which we'll talk about that. So, our top 5 were Custer, Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, Chandler Smith, and then Allgaier got the Stage 1 win. And, I mean, looking back, you got Truex in 6th, Ryan Truex, Austin Hill 7th, Ryan Sieg 8th, Allmendinger 9th, Kligerman 10th. And then, going to Stage 2, Allgaier ended up sweeping the stages. He had a really strong car.
Yeah, he did.
Cole Custer got 2nd, Herbst 3rd. Herbst had a good car too, but
he did.
His crew messed him up again.
Yeah, his crew messed him up, and then I guess being back there kind of, I don't know if it tightened him up or something.
Yeah, Brandon Jones 4th, Ryan Sieg 5th, and then we get to the end of the race, and we had some wrecks. This is the one that they were adding on laps. They were about to choose, like, oh no, we're not doing it.
Yeah,
it wasn't so much the Truck Series as it was
Xfinity was bad.
Xfinity was really bad.
Xfinity was really bad. It was like they had 16 laps to go, and they literally, like when the caution came out, and they literally started with 7 laps.
Right. So
it's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why did we need that many laps?
Allgaier ended up leading the race lead high, 117 laps. Our top 10 were Anthony Alfredo got 10th, Jesse Love 9th. So he had a good qualifying. They couldn't get anything done. Sammy Smith 8th, Ryan Truex 7th, Austin Hill 6th.
Ryan Truex got 7th?
Yeah, Ryan Truex got 7th after he spun, because he spun middle of the race, and he spun, and it was wild.
Yeah, he got way back in the
he got mired in the back of the pack. Cole Custer 5th, Dinger got 4th, Allgaier 3rd, and then we get to our craziness here. So the restart happens. Ryan Sieg is leading.
Yes.
Sam Mayer comes up and gets him.
But before that, though, he got up there and he was leading, and it was like, caution, and we had to restart. They restarted twice, I think.
Yeah.
Those 2 up front.
Right. And just hearing his crew chief, like, the way that he was, like, pushing him on was nuts.
Yeah.
It was crazy to hear it. And
I think everyone felt so bad for him because he lost by.
Oh, I think so. And so Sam Mayer
inch.
did get the Dash for Cash win too.
Yes.
And so he lost by an inch. They were beating and banging coming off of turn 4.
Yeah.
And got around, and Mayer caught him just a little bit. And it was funny because Sieg actually opened up and said, I was trying to push him into the wall and wreck him so I could get this win. And, heck, he was honest.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he was trying to, just to slow him down. I don't think he was trying to really wreck him.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to get the win.
Yeah, it ended up being a really good end of the race. Yeah. Xfinity's been fairly strong this year.
I feel like Xfinity and the trucks have been way better than Cup this year. Way better.
Yeah.
They've been way more competitive. A lot more racing. A lot more actually people trying to win, not just like follow the leader.
Right. And then so that moves us over into Cup Series. Cup Series are starting 10. Bubba Wallace 10th. Truex 9th. Martin Truex. Austin Cindric. Ryan Blaney. William Byron. 5th is Briscoe. 4th Reddick. third Bell, second Gibbs, first Larson. Larson got this is his third straight pole this year. Yeah. 3 in a row. Mm-hmm. And then we get into stage 1. Larson won the stage. Bell there, Hamlin, Reddick. This is where we saw, going into stage 2, Larson becomes non-existent pretty much. Because he lost the wheel.
Yeah.
Something happened, the lug didn't get on there right. And then you look, and who else was it? It was the 38. Ty Gilliland, I think, had... Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs had around the same time, the lug socket came off the gun, and that was stuck to the tire. So you had that going around the track. Then Truex's team couldn't get the wheel tight, messed him up. Then in stage 3, had same thing happen to him. Denny had a loose wheel, I think, as well. There was another team that had a loose wheel, I think, besides them. Maybe it wasn't Denny. Truex comes in. He's getting fuel, and after that happened, he ripped his team a new one because they were sitting waiting on fuel. And he's like, "How the F do you not get a wheel on tight if we're waiting for fuel?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, we weren't going on the drop of the jack. You had time to do this. What the F? That's pretty much what he said. And then he got really, really upset at his crew chief, which that was interesting to listen to because they were bantering and bickering back and forth. But, a lot of people call Truex a crybaby, and I think he has a legitimate reason on why he's complaining because his team stinks. I mean, the tire changers.
He still should not have the crew chief that he has.
The crew chief has been horrendous for the past.
His crew chief
since Cole Pern left in 19.
Yeah, his crew chief should have been gone 2 years ago.
Yeah,
he should not be there still. He 100% should not. And I get why people call him crybaby, but whatever. He has legitimate reasons. If they do not qualify, if the car is not right when it comes to the track, nothing can happen. His crew chief cannot figure out a dang thing to make that car better.
So something needs to happen there. Will Coach do anything about it? I don't think so because he sits there and he's too focused on the 11 and he's too focused on the 54.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Truex retires this year. I mean, if you're getting crap stuff from people, that you're not gonna. And I want to see that change. That's the change I want to see. Because if you look at what 2311 did by separating themselves from Joe Gibbs for their pit crew, they've gotten better at it. Now they've had some hiccups. They've gotten a lot better.
The other person was 2311. What's his name?
Reddick?
Yes.
Okay.
Reddick had a tire issue.
They showed a video of... so Christopher Bell spun. They had the most cautions. I can't remember how many it was.
Yeah. But then again, them too, just driving around, wasting laps.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
And again, Fox, kept up with their horrible commentating and picture, whatever. We're looking at
the beginning of the race when everybody went. So people go backwards. All that they had Truex on there, and they had him going against Gibbs. I think it was or somebody.
Yeah, and
they had Gibbs at 10th, and they had Truex at 14th.
Yeah.
Then they did the same thing
with Corey, and I think it was Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was 21st. And Corey was 24th, and there was no cars in between them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And then they didn't you say they did it again
and then
with Larson?
Again, in I think it was the second stage, they have the in-car of Larson, and they're showing 2 cars ahead of him with the arrow saying Larson. I'm like, what are you doing, Fox?
Whoever's running that did really wrong.
Oh my goodness.
And then you have, not even correcting himself, Mike Joy making a mistake, which it happens, but you'd be surprised. I would figure that production would be in his ear saying, hey, you said the number wrong. And because I think if he would have heard the number wrong, if somebody would have told him he did it wrong, he would have corrected himself on the spot.
Yeah.
So I don't even put too much blame on him for that.
No.
Somebody said with that, that it sounds like Boyer and Harvick don't like each other in the booth.
No, I don't. I can't see how somebody could say that. I think they just like busting on each other.
So the end of the race, top 10 were Carson Hocevar got his first top 10 of his young,
which is surprising
career.
Too, because he spun.
Yeah, he was having some issues.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch 9th, Austin Dillon 8th, Bubba Wallace 7th. He's been running fairly strong so far this year. Been running up in the top 4, top 5s. You can't really fault that. Briscoe 6th. Daniel Suarez got his first top 5 since winning in Atlanta. He was 5th. Tyler Reddick 4th. William Byron 3rd. Keselowski 2nd. Chase Elliott got the win. He snapped his winless streak, and this is the first time that he's won since, or Hooters has won as a primary sponsor since Alan Quickie did it at Pocono in the early 90s. So that doesn't really tell all the story, and if you listen to a lot of people that love Chase Elliott and everything, he did nothing wrong. So the person that was actually leading the race led, let's see, what is it, 35 laps, was, green, white, checkered, started off. Mm-hmm. Ross Chastain finished 32nd.
Yeah.
So they were going down the backstretch, and Chase Elliott doors him.
Yeah, and the commentators were like, "Oh, he side drafted him." No, he hit him.
He hit him.
That was not a side draft. He totally hit him.
No. So that was coming from the start. That wasn't even the backstretch, because then Chase, he hits him. Ross got to slow down. They start going into the turn, and Ross was getting a little washed and moved up. William Byron is coming down, but then he's following his line and going up. And he has an impact with Chastain, spinning Chastain.
And crashes him.
And wrecks him, yeah. And, people are like, well, if you look at it, Chastain went down. Byron went up in the video, too. Also, to the effect that he could have gotten out of the way.
And they're saying he couldn't have done anything. Yeah, he could have. He definitely could have.
And then if you say anything, I'm sorry, and then this is a personal thing here. If you say anything against Chase Elliott with this win, even if you just said, hey, I just wanted this race to end under green flag, not...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So many people will attack you because Chase Elliott won the race.
Yeah.
And he's, the most popular driver. And we've come to the conclusion that the only reason Chase Elliott is the most popular driver in NASCAR,
because of his daddy.
Yeah, similar to Dale Earnhardt Jr., it's the name. The Elliott name is the reason Chase Elliott is the most popular driver.
I can disagree with that, because Junior actually is still, adding to the sport. Chase Elliott is just boring. He's very boring, just like William Byron.
Until he snaps his leg in Colorado.
He doesn't show any personality, so I don't understand how he's the most favorite driver. There's no personality. He's not doing anything anymore. I mean, when he first came in, those Napa commercials were funny and stuff, but you can't keep riding on that.
So who do you think? If it was up to you, based on the information that you're putting out there, who would you call as the next as the most popular driver? Who should be the most popular driver based on the criteria that you're saying? Not boring, not vanilla, does fun stuff. Who would you put on that list?
Who would I put? I don't know that I would pick. I could pick a single one.
Okay, well, give me your top 5. Or top 3. We'll do top 3.
Okay, I think Reddick would be up there. Reddick's a good driver, and he'll make fun of himself, and
okay,
I don't know. It's hard to do because you like there's certain people that you like. So it's kind of hard to
Right.
do to, like, evaluate, like, for other people. And, like, I don't like Hendrick because they're lemmings. Minions, I don't know.
Okay.
What do you want to say? So I don't think any of them, although I really... Now, I would pick Larson pre-Hendrick.
But
Because-
we're talking 2024. We're
I
not,
know. I'm saying he's a good driver and he had a personality. You can't have a personality anymore. I don't know. I need to like see a list because my brain's broken right now.
Blaney, LaJoy, you got Gibbs, you got
You
Bell,
know what?
Denny.
Okay. I like Christopher Bell. Possibly. I would put Logano up there. Because he commentates a lot and different things.
Suarez.
Now people get annoyed with him because he
Yeah.
laughs at everything. But at least he has something going for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and this will be one that you'll hate, but based on the criteria, I would put maybe not in my top 3, but I could see Bubba up there
Yeah, I could see Bubba up there. I mean,
and Denny
the
because
driving, not so much. Okay,
but
yes,
they're
you
it's
could.
not even so much that they're like it's the villain part that they play.
Yes,
They
yes.
embody that villainness.
Yeah, Denny
them.
could definitely be up there. Like, I would never want him as the most popular driver because I can't stand him. But he does. He
Yeah.
plays like the heel or whatever you want to say. Like, yeah.
Yeah, him and Bubba I think are the heels in the sport. If we want to use wrestling terms, I mean,
Which we should because, I mean, they're WWEing some of these races. So.
and you go back and you look at, I think you're in calling if we were to call each team a faction, but I would dump Denny with 2311. I would call that from the 90s and 2000s DX that had Triple H, China, Road Dogg, all them.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones that were successful, but then also stirred the pot. The corporation is what I would pick as Hendrick Motorsports. That was The Rock, the McMahons. Shoot, I can't even think of any more of them off of there. D'Lo Brown was on there. I think that would be them. Gibbs cars, I don't know what they would be. I would think. I would think like Chastain, Trackhouse /
Oh, I would put Chastain up in there too. Chastain's definitely has a personality.
He has a personality, and he's not liked by a lot of people.
And
like
he has a good.
he's
a good race car driver.
unless you don't like
You're
him.
okay. Chastain is more like an old time race car driver than anyone will ever admit.
Yeah.
And you have too many people that have not watched racing long enough to understand it and just think that he's wrecking people because we have wussified the Cup Series.
Yeah, it is one of those things that I think he would I think he would flourish a lot better in the past than now.
Yes.
And it's funny because speaking of that, everybody calls him Crash Dane and whatnot, but
I don't
there was-
understand it. It's
but
like
it
such
was
a double standard because Dale Earnhardt was way worse at that than any other race car driver, and he's still being dead for 20 years, still popular.
yeah, it's because they don't see that now.
No, because they don't race like that anymore. That's why it was so exciting, the
Hail
Xfinity and the Hail Mail and everything, because like Ryan Sieg could taste the win there.
Yeah,
Okay, and then Sam Mayer wanted it, and he wanted to win the
Right.
money. Like, that was your old time racing. They were like always wanting to win. Now you just have people that are just fine with racing for third because
well,
one,
I think the problem
cars
is
are terrible.
Yeah, the cars are so crap, and I like what Dale Jr. said about the cars being crap. He's like, and I'm going to put it in my own terms of what he said, kind of sum it up and paraphrase, but he was pretty much saying, you guys were ready to dump, and I'm going to keep this clean, you guys were ready to dump Richmond because of the outcome, saying, "Oh, it's a track, it's a track, it's a track." Go to Martinsville, same stinking thing pretty much happens, and you're like, now you want to hit the panic button? He's like, I was hitting the panic button a year ago.
Yeah,
and it's true. The car sucks at handling it. They in NASCAR, I think, is not doing enough to deal with it.
They're not.
And people have put it out there saying, the team, as much money gets split up. I saw somebody talk about this. As much money gets split up with the TV deals, the tracks get so much of this money. And you look at the majority of the owners, Speedway Motorsports and NASCAR own the tracks. And then the cars get 10% or something like that of this, whatever it is, $7 billion deal that's coming up over the next 10 years.
Well, it's actually just the teams, not even like individually the cars.
Yeah, the teams. So like Gibbs, Hendrick, Spire, Stewart Haas, so on. They only get such a small amount. Yet they're the ones that have to foot the bill for the testing of different things from NASCAR. Somebody put something out, and I think it's smart. Redo these cars. Because they have the like cars they showed off, Chevy, Ford, and all that. Redo the Ford and the Toyota to match the body style this year. And NASCAR hires, get Bobby Labonte, get Dale Jr., who's a Ford person that we can get out there, Mark Martin, somebody like that. Some of these older drivers, and NASCAR goes and uses their money to go do these tests instead of.
The team's having to pay
Hendrick
for it.
it's not even so much Hendrick.
NASCAR's like double dipping too, because then they own those tracks and they get money, so they're doubly getting money. So then you have these smaller tracks that only get maybe 2 races at it a year, and then they bring a terrible car, and then people don't go to that track. And they're not making a lot of money, and then they're like gonna lose a race.
I mean, for crying out loud,
and it's ridiculous
because they're
because
talking about threatening taking away a race from Richmond because of how crappy the car handled and worked.
Yeah,
there.
and it's not the racetrack's fault. It's the car, and it's the drivers too, because I'm telling you, they have it so stuck in their heads that this stuff is expensive and we can't crash and all this stuff, so they do not race like they used to either. I know the cars suck, but I feel like at some points they literally just follow the leader.
But then you hear something like what Truex says, and I mean there is a fine line between it. But I remember he came out and said something about all these. This was before this car. This was the last car. All these younger drivers are going out there, and you can tell they've never had to work on a car because they're not trying to keep it clean. They're just beating and banging like a video game. And I think there's a mixed extent to it, to what's going on there. And I mean, I don't know. Somebody needs to go out there and they need to beat and bang, but they're going to get crucified like Chastain
Yes,
did.
Chastain does, because it's like Chastain's trying to get a win. Chastain's trying to get into the playoffs, and then they're all like, oh, he's crashing everyone. I
mean, shoot.
And
somebody told me on Facebook that, Chastain needs to be punished for 3 years. How in the beep did you come up with 3 years?
Yeah, I know. Like, what in the world?
But mind you, these are the same people that, put a picture, a graphic picture, like a paint, not like graphic vulgar, but a graphic picture, or they put a flower, or they put a picture of their dog. So it reminds me of these people that drive around that comment on everything that's in their car with their sunglasses on, so you can't tell who they are.
Or they don't even have a picture.
Yeah, or they don't even have a picture. So, I mean, that's a big thing with that.
And, like, I'm not, like, a huge Chastain fan.
I'm starting to not like him.
Okay,
just because
I don't not like him, but I don't like him. Like, he's just like, whatever kind of thing. But it's annoying that everything is just always, he's too aggressive. He's too aggressive. Right. No, y'all aren't aggressive because Chase Elliott hit Ross, and I'm telling you, if it was reversed, Oh, all heck would have broken loose.
Well, I mean, you're also talking about the most popular driver, and you're talking about Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah. All heck would have broken loose.
I think I said this before. I mean, my big issue with Hendrick doing all this crap is they did the Garage 56 car. I think that thing is awesome, but it raised flags to me as a fan of the sport when you see one team putting into a car. It wasn't even like a Spire or, RCR or another Chevrolet going in there. It was all a Hendrick thing. It's like, what the world's going on here? You're teaming up with this guy to do this? This seems very fishy. And, nobody paid too much mind to it. I mean, some people did, but then they were told to be quiet and got shoved underneath the rug.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I don't know what to say to that. It's good to see Hocevar get his top 10. It's good to see some of these guys, run their, their races, and they're actually showing up and doing well. Ty Gibbs is one who's been quiet, and he's gotten 5 top 10s.
And I was the biggest Ty Gibbs hater, and now I'm just he's doing pretty good. He might win.
There's only one race that he has not finished in the top 10 out of the 9 races they've ran. So, I mean, you have that. So our regular season standings, not win playoffs, but driver standings, Larson is 17 points ahead of Truex, 28 points ahead of Denny. Denny's third, Truex second. Chase Elliott moved up 2 spots. He is now 4th. William Byron dropped a spot. Ty Gibbs moved up 1. Blaney, Reddick, Bubba, and Christopher Bell round out the top 10. Joey Logano is in 15th right now, so he has got a playoff spot. He dropped 4 spots, so he's there. Bowman's there. Bowman's been non-existent this year, it seems like.
No, Bowman's been non-existent for a bunch of years. Bowman, I don't know how Bowman is still in a Hendrick car.
Because Rajah Caruth's not ready to come up.
Probably, but also I think it's because I think he only got an extension because he got a concussion and he couldn't race. So he got his extension to stay because he really stinks.
Well, I mean,
I don't like him personally.
This is totally different. This is totally different. But I mentioned the guy's name, Rajah Caruth. There have been some stupid idiots on social media going around blasting him because he was standing for the national anthem, not a hand on heart or anything like that. And then they go back and they show, people were showing stuff from the past of drivers, white drivers, because people were like, oh, it's because he's black and this and that, and he's teamed up with Bubba Wallace. I think Rajah is from what I've seen, I'm going to preface this by what I've seen and how he acts on the track and in front of the TV. I think Rajah Caruth doesn't act like Bubba Wallace does sometimes, or come off as Bubba Wallace. Yeah. We'll say come off, because who knows? Bubba Wallace comes off as a jerk and an a-hole quite a bit of the time. Mm-hmm. Whether he's trying to do that on purpose or that's just how he is, I don't know. I don't know the guy.
Well, he talks about how he gets depressed and different things like that. So he's just very emotional, mentally, not stable kind of person.
Things swing. And so whatever,
So Rajah's a lot more stable. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, but the thing that I detest about it is he's a big Hendrick fan, and he's running Spire truck for Hendrick, and so he's pretty much moving up into Hendrick. But people keep sticking to this idea that he didn't put his hand over his heart. So I couldn't help but to notice on Fox during the national anthem, they showed only drivers that had their hand on their hearts.
Yeah.
Only with their spouses that had their hand on their hearts.
Because they're stroking the fire. They want controversy. But they can't even flippin' broadcast a race properly.
Right.
Stop it.
So going on to that, with our driver stuff, Suarez is in 18th place for regular season. But he's in, obviously, because he's got to win. Mm-hmm. He's the lowest person on the win.
Yeah.
You know what team has been doing really horrible this year? Legacy.
Oh, I expected them to be doing horrible. John Hunter Nemechek crashed 3 times.
Right. So rumor has come out that with Legacy, rumors come out that Jimmy Johnson went behind Chevrolet's back to start fostering a relationship with Toyota.
And that's probably why Chevy was like, oh, you're a tier 2 now.
Right. I think you're right on that. I 100%. Or tier
Jimmy
3. No, tier 3.
Tier 3, sorry. And Jimmy Johnson crashed. No surprise.
Yeah, at least he finished. I'll give him that he finished the race.
He did. He did finish. That's very shocking that he did finish. But, if y'all don't realize that Mr. 7-Time was cheating to get 7-Time, y'all really weren't paying attention. Because the man can't drive a car to save his life anymore. So, like, there was stuff going on. And if you can't realize that, because I think this is probably one of the first races that he's actually finished in. Because I think he's DNF'd in, like, almost all of them.
Yeah, he did.
And then he did horrible in Indy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that was way different, but, like, you eventually should be catching on. He never caught on. And then he comes back into this car, and yeah, the car's different, but it's still a car like all these other drivers would be crashing all the time if it was that different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not. And he is. But he's 7-Time. No. He's Mr. Cheater. Pumpkin eater.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of things going on, like you know.
But that's why I'm saying, so it doesn't surprise me if he did go behind the back, because that's what cheaters do. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting. And just looking at all the fan debates with all this stuff. So speaking of our segue into, and we'll jump back into NASCAR here shortly, but IndyCar, what was that? Not Monday. Wednesday, I think it was, that in a rain-shortened practice, Kyle Larson posted the fastest lap for the Indianapolis 500 practice.
Mm-hmm.
So
there we go again. Jimmy Johnson, 7-Time. Never did that. Kyle Larson, throw him in anything and he can drive anything. See, that's why it makes me so mad how they did Larson so dirty, and now he has to be this little buttoned up kind of person, because he has talent and he had personality. Personality is gone now, and I don't like him.
Yeah. Just for clarification, what we were saying before, it was almost 32 years since Hooters was back in victory lane.
Yeah.
With Kwiatkowski. I think it's interesting that it was at Pocono. 92.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting. So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on. People were taking jabs at Hailie Deegan because of how poorly she raced. And just...
Well, she got caught up in a wreck again, too.
Yeah. And also, remember how I was telling you who's causing the wrecks, who thinks he's the best there was, best there is, on the trucks? Dean Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And because he had a lot of crap to say about Hailie Deegan, and he's doing all the same crap right now. He may be running higher statistically, but he's still pulling the same crap, spinning out people, wrecking. Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. I think Hailie Deegan wins the most popular driver. Well, that's one's going to be interesting too, because you have SVG in there. But she won most popular driver in the Truck Series when she was in the Truck Series.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. So we have,
because she has a personality, even though like she doesn't show it all the time. Like, but if you follow her social media, she has personality.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem, like you said, with whatever Rick Hendrick does to, or whatever rules they have. Joe Gibbs is similar to that. I mean, he lets them. So Hendrick lets his people do whatever races they want, and so I think people are like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Kyle Larson go out there and run Chili Bowl, and then he can go run the Petro Bowl and the Midas Bowl and all this other stuff. And next thing you know, big wreck. That's what happened with Alex Bowman. It wasn't a concussion; he had a spinal fracture.
Yeah,
happened.
but I
because
thought he
his car
had
flipped around on that track.
But I thought he had a concussion too. That's why he couldn't come back.
All I know is he had something wrong with his back because a stinking car flipped off the track.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of these modifieds or sprint cars. So
No, he totally had a concussion after, though, too, because he had it after Kurt Busch.
Okay. Other non-NASCAR news. Excuse me. Keelan Harvick won his first race in the cars that he was running. He's going to run the Cars Tour. Keelan Harvick.
Mm.
That ought to be interesting. I'd like to see him come up. See what he's going to do. As long as he's not a hothead like his dad. Which I think that's why
or his mom. Well, they both were.
They sent him to Europe because of that.
Yeah.
He raced in Europe because of
to try
calm
and
him down.
Yeah, straighten him out.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? We're sending your butt to Europe where they don't really race too much of the type of cars you want to race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who knows what they do. Anyway, let's move on to this coming weekend, Talladega. Our Xfinity race, and so trucks are off. Xfinity race and Cup Series. For our Xfinity, we have Cole Custer in the Haas, Sam Mayer in First Bank of Alabama. We have Jesse Love in the WAT car, the Watt car, or whatever it is. Anthony Alfredo's back in the Dude Wipes. Allgaier's back in Brant. We have Pilot Flying J Coffee back on Brandon Jones, on Sammy Smith, which was a pretty cool looking car.
Mm-hmm.
I think I totally messed up my TikTok video that I did. I think I said Sammy Smith instead of Sam Mayer. I could be wrong. Brandon Jones is in Menards. We have Josh Williams in Alloy Employer Services. Airbox again for Haley Deegan. Celsius for the Dinger. Friends of Jacqueline Foundation, Sheldon Creed. Maybe he needs to change that sponsor because nothing ain't working for him this year.
Oh, I know. Poor Sheldon.
Taylor Gray doesn't have they haven't done it. Ryan Truex is back in the 20 car.
Woohoo!
He's going to be running the Toyota Gazoo Racing. Bennett Transportation is with our good old buddy Austin Hill.
Ugh.
Forever Lawn. He ran the Cup Series at Texas. The only thing that
he DNF'd.
He DNF'd because he had busted steering.
Mm-hmm.
But his fire suit was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So he was the United Reynolds. He ran the United Reynolds 33 car, and for RCR. And his fire suit had that orange safety vest overlaid on it, which was pretty cool looking. But anyway, going back to what's going on here. Jeffrey Earnhardt, Forever Lawn. I'm trying to see if anybody sticks out here that we have going on. Who's in the... we don't have a 17 running. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of same people. Patrick Emmerling. SVG's running the Wendy's. So that should be interesting to see. Wendy's car.
Mm-hmm.
Parker Kligerman back with Spike stuff.
That makes
Spike
me
Coolers.
so sad because, okay, so I love Noah Gragson. He was the best for Wendy's.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it anymore.
So moving on to Cup Series, we'll go into the entry list and then we'll talk about the times and then we'll pick our winners. I don't think there's anything that sticks out here. Nothing else that we've really talked about that's not on here in the news that's sticking out right now. But anyway, we have Chastain running the Jockey Outdoors by Luke Bryan.
Oh man, they gonna do another
Jockey underwear commercial. Cindric running Menards Richmond water heater, so he's gonna look just like Ryan Blaney.
Mm-hmm.
We have Austin Dillon back in the Bass Pro Shop. Josh Berry's running Overstock this week. So
Josh Berry's been stinking it up.
Well, he ran pretty good at Bristol and Richmond. He
yeah, but he crashed 2 times yesterday.
Oh yeah, he did. He was horrendous. Larson back in his same car. Keselowski has Castrol. Corey LaJoy doesn't have a sponsor noted on the entry list. Kyle Busch has Cheddars. Chase Elliott's got Napa.
Cheddars.
Chase Elliott's, Noah Gragson's going to be on Overstock too, so that's going to be interesting to see how those two cars are.
Yeah.
FedEx Ultimate Fan Contest for Denny. Wabash, so that's a red.
What is that?
Red and white car. Wabash. Let's see. It looks like it's a college. No, Solutions Wabash National. That's what we want. Is an American diversified industrial manufacturing company and North America's largest producer of semi-trailers and liquid transport systems.
Interesting.
So he's running Wabash. I think that's a red and black car. Mahindra's back on Chase Briscoe. Cody Ware is running the 15. SVG is going to be running the 16 with Wendy's again at Talladega. Chris Buescher is running Fastenal. Truex is running Bass Pro Shop. Seabell Mobile One. Those Mobile One paint schemes have been pretty good across the board. Ford, Toyota.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool to see.
I think the last one. Who had the last one?
Barry, the gold
Barry,
one.
yeah, the gold one was the best one. But I mean, they were all really good.
Barry's look pretty slick in person.
Yeah.
Then you have Motorcraft Quick Lane for Harrison Burton. Logano is running Shell. Bubba Wallace is running Lidos. That's that black and purple car. I think that's IT type stuff. Liberty University.
Mr. Vanilla.
William Byron. Circle is going to be on Hemrick. Hemrick has been doing nothing. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if Kaulig shuts down their Cup Series and sells the charters. There's a big rumor about that, and we'll talk about that here shortly. I'll finish this up. McDowell's running Love Truck Stops. Todd Gillen doesn't have a sponsor. They haven't named their sponsor yet. Primary. United Rentals on Ryan Preece. That's been another turd. He actually wrecked Blaney last Sunday. Advent Health on John Hunter. Family Dollar on Eric Jones. Jordan Brand's going to be on Tyler Reddick. Ricky Stenhouse has Boost, Thomas, and Philadelphia, so that's going to be interesting. The Boost is the Kroger thing. Then you have Thomas's Bagels and Philadelphia Cream Cheese.
Interesting.
Yeah, Ally on Alex Bowman. Ty Gibbs got Monster Energy. Pasta's going to be running the 62 Dude Wipes. Ziegler Auto Group for hosts of our BJ McLeod's going to be running. And it's interesting, I'll get on some comments that he's made, and then Suarez is going to be running Tootsie's Orchid Lounge car.
I like the Tootsie's car.
Yeah, so BJ McLeod, he's only running a few races. He sold the charter because he found out that NASCAR's not paying enough for you constantly putting a car in there. The purse that they would get for running 20th or 30th or whatever wasn't worth it. And they were losing money. So he's like, I'd rather just go to a few races and focus on everything else. He's like, I want to race, but the current model that's out there, business model is out there, is not.
I think
one that's
this is
make
also
money.
why NASCAR's gotten kind of wussified boring too, because you don't have these they can't have small teams try and get in the race anymore.
No,
there's no trying to get in the race anymore. You have to have a charter.
Daytona.
No, but that's not. There's hardly any small names trying to get up in there like we used to have all the time.
Yeah. So going back to what I was saying, I think Kaulig may call it quits on their Cup Series. They're not doing anything. They stink in the Cup Series. I mean, that hurts like SVG and Zane Smith because they're Kaulig. Zane's luckily on Spire, but it's like they're not doing great. Like Kaulig is a Xfinity team.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't think they have the money to put out there, to be honest with you. They're not. Matt Kaulig's not selling enough leaf filter systems or nutrient ag solutions. But that, like, so there you have that. You have there was something else that kind of popped out that we were talking about with all this. That's just like it's stinks. But so that's the entry list there. Going into Talladega. our timing for this is going to be our schedule is Friday, and ARCA's going to be there too, but we don't really cover ARCA. ARCA's going to be practicing. Xfinity's practicing qualifying at 5:30 Eastern, Friday, April 19th on FS1. Saturday you have. They're not even practicing. I think Jimmy Johnson came out and said it, and I'll stand by him on this one. He said there's not enough practice out there to get these cars right. And this is showing it right here. You're showing up to Talladega without practice.
It's so stupid. It's like 2020 hit, and they became all...
Well, you know what they were saying?
I wanted to say a word that you shouldn't say, but literally it means what's happening.
So...
Going backwards...
NASCAR has come out and said, so let me finish this and then I'll go into that. So 10:30 a.m. Eastern qualifying FS1 MRN. Then we have the General Tire 200 on FS1, 12:30 Eastern for ARCA, 4 Eastern the Ag Pro 300 on Fox and MRN. Then we get into Sunday at 3 Eastern, so probably 3:15ish. The green flag's going to drop. Geico 500. And that's going to be on Fox, MRN. Got to figure out how to watch that.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch a replay.
Have headphones in.
We're going to have to watch a replay, husband.
We'll see.
We're going to be at a wedding.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That
starts at 3. You can't have headphones on during the ceremony, sir.
So anyway.
If it was during the reception, I'd be like, eh. But it's during the wedding.
So going back to what I was saying about this. The Jimmy Johnson came out and said that. So NASCAR came out and said, well, we're going to say, I think Door Bumper Clear talked about this too. And this is what they said, and I get it. They said, NASCAR came and said, we're saving you guys money. You don't have to drive out here so early to come do qualifying and waste fuel and tires and stuff for practicing. We're not going to have like 4 practices. And I think it was Freddie Kraft said this because so we had Jimmy Johnson say it. There's not enough practice to get the car right, and they're like, "Oh, we're saving you money," is what NASCAR says, and it's like, no, you're not, because all that time that there would be driving, they're spending that money on simulators and everything else in house.
Yeah, and then since they don't have enough practice and their car isn't right, then they crash. So then they gotta spend more money.
Right.
So they're not saving them money at all.
It's NASCAR. NASCAR's done a boneheaded thing, in my opinion. And I don't, you know what? This podcast, we speak our mind, and who cares if we don't get anything or NASCAR poo-poos us, because you know what? We're gonna stick by this even growing up. As soon as this thing takes off, this is what's gonna happen. But anyway, yeah, NASCAR's being, I think, boneheaded on this, thinking that we're saving you money when you're really not, and then you're wasting time with these no practice at Talladega. Give me a break. It's a stinking super speedway, for crying out loud.
Well, we have practice at short tracks, okay? That you have minor crashes, but somewhere where you can actually die, let's not have any practice.
Yeah, it's
like,
silly.
Come on.
The nonsense is palatable, or however you say it.
How many people have flipped at Talladega? I mean, I know Elliott Sadler did like every time that he drove there. So, like, why are we not practicing?
I don't know. It's stupid in my opinion. We need practice. So
I don't even like how they qualify either. So it's they keep messing with things.
They're trying to shorten the track time because they think they're saving people money when they're not. First of all, you have the fans that want to be there all stinking week. And you have the NASCAR tracks that will open up like Martinsville was open up the Sunday before the race.
Yeah.
Then they were at Richmond. So we're going to open up the camping. It's like, if you're going to do that crap, let the teams come and practice Thursday, then practice Friday, and qualify Saturday.
Here's a lovely idea too. Make it optional.
There you go. If you don't want to practice, you don't practice. But then you're going to have too many teams that are complaining. Oh, well, I can't spend the money to come out here and practice. And, Hendrick and Gibbs is out there practicing all the time, and they're the ones winning. Which also, out of the 8 out of the 8 races, Hendrick and Joe Gibbs has accounted for those wins. 8 out of the 9 races. The only other one was Trackhouse and Suarez.
Mm-hmm.
And, mind you, Ford has not won a race since switching to the Dark Horse in any series.
Yeah, in any series. That's real bad.
That's an embarrassment. Ford should be embarrassed about themselves. You know, I think Keselowski came out and openly said it. He's like, I'm pissed off as an owner because we've, spent the money on R&D in this Dark Horse and we can't even get out of our own way. I think a blind squirrel will find an acorn every now and then. I think that's what happened Sunday at Texas with him running,
oh yeah,
second.
Definitely.
By no means is that car any good.
No, it's not, because he pushed that thing to the limits.
Yeah.
He pushed that thing to the limits. And he still didn't win.
Ford's too busy trying to make their Mustang an stinking EV vehicle. And then you have, we talked about this last week. You got all these people that are going to get very upset when Chevrolet pops up and they don't have a Camaro anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? Model the car after a Corvette? They're going to have to switch it to Cadillac, or who else are they going to switch to? Buick.
It'd be a big old boat out there.
Buick was there, back in the day when the conception of NASCAR, but that was also because you could hide a heck of a lot of alcohol in that car. So,
because they're boats.
Anyway, that is our recap. So 3:15ish, I think Green Flag's going to wave at Talladega this Sunday, and after that wedding, during the reception, we're going to probably be having it on my phone. And there's going to be people around us. I can already think of 2. And it'll be just like people watching football at weddings, but we're rednecks. Anyway.
And Jordan's going to be like, sorry, it's my job.
Exactly. I'm still waiting. NASCAR, if you hear me out, you need to let us in because you need the voice of reasons instead of choking everybody out.
Well, see, I think that's part of the problem with them. It's like they all talk to each other and they're not talking to other people, and that's why they get these stupid ideas. Because when people aren't set in reality, they make up some weird stuff.
And we're not called Armchair Crew Chief for no reason.
Exactly.
We Monday morning quarterback this beep.
Exactly. We could be totally wrong, too, and I don't care.
No. But when you look and see what happens, it's like, why don't you change this and try that? But we don't have I would love for Joe Gibbs to come out here or somebody like that. Joe Gibbs, Aspire, a colleague, Trackhouse. Come in and hang out at our pit box. See what we actually go so you can get a taste of what you're sitting there complaining about. See if you're still going to complain about it. Heck yeah, I'm going to still complain about it, but I'm going to have a little bit more working knowledge on what the beep's going on.
Yeah.
That would be lovely to do. So if you guys are listening out to this, please make JTG, anybody else. I don't want to do HMS. I don't want to do RCR because I would have a feeling I would punch RC in the face and go to jail for his stupid A comments if he's around me.
Oh my goodness.
And then I would probably take out his grandson. He'd have a lot more than one little white spot from his hair on the side.
You're like that passionate about that?
I don't like him. The way you did not see him at Pocono like 2 years ago, thinking that his crap don't stink, walking around Pocono.
Oh well, I mean they did Sheldon so dirty too,
and they did, yeah.
So
Austin Hill acting like an A, acting like a donkey, and clapping his hands, and then Petrie comes out and attacks him. At least Petrie had enough balls to say I'm sorry.
Yeah, true.
So you know what? Whatever. Anyway. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Okay,
Who do you... Let's pick our winners for Xfinity and Cup Series. Who you going? I'm going with Allgaier, Xfinity. Cup Series, Ford's going to break it out. It's going to be Blaney. He's the last winner there.
Yeah. Xfinity... Dang, that's hard. I'm going to go with Sheldon. I want him to win so bad. I want him to get up there and put his glasses on and say, yeah, baby, yeah, because he is Austin Powers.
But his car sucks.
He is Austin Powers. He's going to channel his inner Austin Powers, and he's gonna win.
He's gonna pull out his penis pump.
No,
Put it on
don't talk.
It's not mine, baby. It's not mine.
Ew. Why'd you go there?
Well, you're talking about pulling out his Austin Powers. What's going to happen? There's going to be the women around on the things like machine gun jubblies. Watch out, everybody.
No, he's just going to say, yeah, baby, yeah. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Machine gun jubblies would be pretty great, too.
Oh, my goodness. All right. And then, who's going to win at Cup? Okay, so we'll just stick with the Ford. I'm going to say Michael McDowell.
All right. Well, you heard it first here. Put your money on either McDowell or Blaney, and you guys will come out rich. Now, if you bet the farm and you lose it, don't come crying to us or take us to court because
neither of us has picked a winner yet.
We are not liable for any betting, and this is not a gambling. If you have any for gambling questions or concerns, please call us 1-800-GAMBLER or whatever that number is. All right, well, we'll see you guys next Monday after the race. Have a great one.
Bye-bye.